What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I get to finally get back out on Lake Chickamauga. I haven't been out on Chick since July, and I haven't even been on the lake, any lake, since the title championship up in the Mississippi River. So really excited to get out. It's October. October definitely isn't my favorite month to fish, but there's one thing that the Tennessee River lakes have that is really special this time of year, and that's frog fishing. You know, the grass mats have grown all the way to the surface. They're starting to die off the root systems underneath, so they're leaving a lot of room for those fish. And this is the time of year, October and early November, where the frog is definitely going to be playing the biggest role. And it's the only rod that I want to pick up this time of year. And look at this. That is a beautiful sight. Man, I am so excited to get out there. Beautiful day. A lot of cloud cover, which isn't exactly, prime for frog fishing, but isn't necessarily a bad thing either. But we're gonna get out there, have a blast, and see if we can't get some fish to blow up on a frog. All right, before we get started, let's do a little breakdown of the tackle I'm using today. Of course, we're using just one rod. Got a couple other rods in there, but I'm probably not going to be picking those out at all for the next few weeks. But this right here is going to be pretty much all I'm going to be throwing. Of course, we got our frog, a black. Black is pretty standard for fishing a frog over the mats, especially on the Tennessee River. Guntersville, Chickamauga, Nickajack, all those lakes that are known for frog fishing. Black is really the only one you need. So we've got the Z-Man Leapfrogs here. I love this frog. I put a couple of BBs in it to put a little bit more weight in there for casting and also to depress the mats a little bit. Cut the legs down a little bit. You can see they're really, really short. You don't need long legs. You want them to target the body. And we're tying that on something a little bit new. This is, of course, the same Seagar Smackdown that I throw all the time. It's 65-pound test braid. You don't want to go any lighter than 65-pound braid. There's really no reason when you're fishing a frog over the mats. But this braid right here is a little bit different because it's in the flash green color. I started doing that and coloring the line right in front of the frog black, just, I don't know, just for confidence reasons. But the reason I'm using flash green is because I can detect when the fish actually has it in its mouth and it's moving away with it a lot better than, just pulling on the line to feel if I feel the fish. So I can actually detect the strike a little bit better. Obviously, I'm going to see them hit the bait, but I also want to know when the bait is actually in their mouth and they're moving away with it. So that's why I'm using flash green. It's something that's kind of new to me, but I'm testing it out, and so far it has been money. We're putting this on a Fitzgerald VLD 10. We're using 8.1 to 1, but I actually generally prefer to do a 7.2 to 1 gear ratio, something in the middle, because I really feel like that 7.2 to 1 gives you a little bit better torque. It's a little bit easier to wrench them out of the thick stuff, but the 8.1 to 1 keeps me moving pretty quick. So both of them will work. And of course, the rod, we're using the Fitzgerald Okeechobee rod. This is the rod that I love to use for frogging. Great long rod, got a great backbone, but it's still got a little bit of tip to help me cast these baits really far. So that is the tackle I'm using. Let's go catch some frogfish. All right, so since the last time the boat was in the water was the Mississippi River, I've got to change out all my northern mapping cards on my units. Even though we're fishing shallow when we're frog fishing, and usually you can see the mats and you can see some of the nuances in the depth changes just by looking at how the grass grows, it's still really important to have a good mapping card, especially to be able to find some of the little creeks and bays. So I'm going to use my Navionics Platinum card. And I'm using the eastern region for this one just because Tennessee, you can either use the east or the south, which is really nice if you live in Tennessee. You have those two options, but we've already got it on the Humminbird. Let's just go ahead and put it in the Lowrance. You can see I've got great contours right now. Let's put that in there. Oh, there we go. There we go. See, you could see these, you know, we're going to be fishing a lot of these little creeks and bays, in little pockets, indentations and stuff on the shoreline. And so having a good mapping card and knowing where those are, what kind of depth you can find in each one. There's a lot of things that you can see with a mapping card that you can't see just with your, just looking at the area with your eyes. So, we are ready to go. The only thing I want to check on, and I think it's already on, is whether or not we have sonar charts on. Yep, got that on. It actually makes a pretty big difference in a lot of areas. I'm not sure if it makes a huge difference in this creek in particular. It actually does. Look at that. A little bit more detail back here. But yeah, so we got sonar charts on. Let's go ahead and back out of here and get fishing. Oh. There he is. Oh, didn't pay attention to the line. Yeah, this spot started to look pretty good. I don't know if he'll come back. Some days he will. Sometimes they don't come back. Sometimes they do. Fortunately, I lost him. He was a tiny guy though. But I just started hearing some bluegill pop, which is, I mean, one of the most important things to kind of listen for and look for in a frog fishing area is that activity from bluegill. Bluegill are just one of the prime, you know, bait fish that these fish are feeding on in these mats. And so once you start hearing the popping, that's when you know you're about to catch some fish. So that's one of the biggest challenges, is finding the right mats to fish. Once you do that, it's just about finding the right cadence. And essentially on that one, I was kind of just popping it along, and then I started dragging it a little bit. And that one, I don't think it would have mattered if it was popping or dragging, because he seemed to hit it on both different retrieves. See if we can get a bigger one to bite. Come on, baby. Oh my gosh. That guy just launched it 2 foot out of the water. Let's see if we can get him again. It's a beautiful day when you can get them to hit again. Hopefully they commit to it. Oh my gosh, that was a better fish. Oh, oh, he missed it. He missed it. Gosh, I hate it when they just don't commit. Some days it's like that. They just want to bat it around. There he is. Losing my hand on the reel. He wasn't quite as big as I thought he was. Look at that guy. He wanted it, man. When they want to hit it multiple times, that's a beautiful thing. A lot of days they'll hit it once and they'll be done. We definitely have an area that's got fish. That is for sure now. No question. Oh, there he is. Oh, man, he is just hauling towards me. A little bit better. Not a big one, but man, he wanted it. And I mean, I honestly thought that was just 6 inches of water over there. Getting bigger. Nice. He destroyed it. And now we're like a lot shallower, very few frog tracks. So I think most people just got a little disheartened about how shallow it was and turned around. But man, it's kind of weird, because a lot of times I think that, you know, as long as the fish can go underneath those mats, you know, that's all the water you need. As long as they can get under there, that's all you need. And I've always found that, you know, 2 foot or less is kind of the sweet spot, because if you got any deeper, you know, they don't necessarily all want to come up to the surface to eat that frog. But if the fish are only in foot of water, when that frog goes over their head, they get real territorial, real aggressive, and they attack that thing. So don't be afraid of shallow water. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it for me today. I just wanted to come out for a couple hours and you know, I caught a few fish. They were small, but you know, any fish on a frog, when they bust out of those mats to get those frogs, that's a lot of fun. So this bite is going to pick up here as October gets into the later part of October and in the early part of November. As the water drops on these TVA lakes, especially Lake Chickamauga, that's when it starts to get the best. Not when it's all the way down, obviously, because then there's no grass in the water, but halfway between summer and winter pools, that's where the sweet spot is in my mind. And really it just comes down to having these mats start to die off, have bigger tunnels underneath, and so on and so forth. So it's going to get better throughout the season, but it was a lot of fun to get out here, especially since I haven't been out since July. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and if you have any questions, drop a comment below. Thank you. See you out on the water.